Good day to you lovely people out there. So folks, I've been away for a little bit, got some stuff on my plate I'll try and explain later. But first, some breaking news. Gog from the land of Magog may be rising faster than we have ever known. Putin just announced immediate partial mobilization of its citizens. The reservists are being called up. Putin drafts up to 300,000 reservists, backs annexation amid war losses. This is seemingly a dramatic bid to reverse some setbacks. The recent humiliation, I suppose, of retreating from northeastern Kharkiv region. So according to rumors, it seems as though some of the really bad criminals in their prisons in Russia are being given an opportunity to become free, but they have to go to the front of the line and go into Ukraine and fight for Russia. Or the alternative is to basically rot in prison in Russia. So apparently a lot of really dangerous criminals are going to be headed to Ukraine very soon. Putin did warn the Western nations not to attack any of Russia's territories because he would swiftly retaliate against them. And folks, I always keep telling you, prepare, like you're preparing for an EMP because, folks, I think it's right around the corner. So apparently this partial mobilization took place starting this morning, which would have been, yesterday evening, I guess, because they're in a different time zone than we are. The statement that he's making also comes a day after Russia announced it intends to hold elections in Russia-controlled regions in eastern and southern Ukraine. This would allow these regions to join Russia. Such elections would undoubtedly escalate the war. Putin has threatened the West to not interfere. He has also discouraged them from nuclear blackmail or using any nukes against Russia. And he reiterated it's not a bluff. Should these regions successfully vote to join Russia, the deputy head of Russia's Security Council said it would enable his country to use any means to defend them. Such a vote to join Russia is also seen as irreversible, says Dmitry Medvedev. In other Ezekiel 38 and 39 prophecy in the news, folks, Iran and Russia just this last Saturday had been strengthening their alliance recently, growing it gradually to such an extent that the Wall Street Journal wrote back in August of 27th that the two countries were forging tighter ties than ever as both countries face continued international isolation. And as we all know, over the recent months, Russia and Iran have signed a multitude of agreements, especially in trade, oil and gas, and also military cooperation, folks. All of these biblical prophecies that I've been talking about this channel and other people on YouTube have as well, it's all starting to come together, folks. I mean, can you feel it in the pit of your soul, the pit of your heart, even in the pit of your stomach? If you don't know what these prophetic events are all about, folks, it's time to start doing some of your homework. Research things such as Isaiah 17 and the total destruction of Damascus forever, and also Ezekiel 38 and 39, which I believe is World War III. Also, think about what's happening around Israel right now. They just received 5 perfect red heifers that get to sacrifice and cleanse the holy temple. Folks, are you looking up? Because things are happening swiftly. Not to mention that the end of Shemitah is upon us. And I had heard from a few of you who listen to this channel that you were going to do Shemitah starting last year, Rosh Hashanah. And now that's coming to an end. I would like to hear from you. If you want to send me a personal message through my email in the description box below, or you want to comment so everybody else can see what you had done and partook of and how it worked for you or didn't work, and what things you ran out of and you should have got more of. And it's a real eye-opener, folks, to prepare a year in advance. But according to Shemitah, you actually prepare 3 years in advance. And so most of us probably scrambled, yours truly, at the last minute to get back everything that I needed to make it for a whole year. And I have to tell you, folks, it was a lot better this year than it was last time I did Shemitah. So I'd like to hear from you. Like I said, Rosh Hashanah is coming, Yom Teruah, and it is the evening of September 25th. And folks, this is the head of the new year for the Hebrew people. And this is also a time where you need to be exquisitely in prayer with the Lord, asking Him for things that you're wanting to accomplish in the year ahead. And really think about those things, folks. Think about what you want to ask God when you're in prayer, because Rosh Hashanah, these 2 days, are really about repenting and praying and asking God for those bountiful and prosperous things for the year to come. But also above all of that is to have a deeper walk with Yahweh and His ways and learning all of this. Also protecting ourselves, asking for protection in the things coming upon the face of this earth. So I hope you're getting ready for Rosh Hashanah. I certainly am. And also, I look forward to this time every year because it is a red flag, high rapture warning time period, because this is when the king gets coronated. That's what this festival is really about, is the coronation of Yeshua as King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So in other news, Biden signs a death warrant for the U.S. dollar. We see another biblical prophecy coming swiftly to pass, and they are adamant that they are going to make the mark of the beast come as soon as they physically can do this. So on March 9th of this year, Biden quietly signed Executive Order 14067. Buried inside of this order is a sinister provision that could give the government unprecedented control over your money and freedom. In fact, this provision sets the stage for legal government surveillance of all U.S. citizens, total control over your bank accounts and purchases, and the ability to silence all dissenting voices for their good. It's no wonder that Fox News actually called this a deeply troubling development, and still most Americans have not heard of Executive Order 14067. Jim Rickards, who was a well-renowned economist, and he is a foreign advisor to both the CIA and Pentagon, basically said this order means the end of the U.S. dollar as we know it. He says we are in for a major upheaval of the U.S. dollar. In fact, I predict the third great dollar earthquake has already started. The first was Roosevelt confiscation of private gold back in 1934. The second was Nixon abandoning the gold standard in 1971. Now, he says, Biden plans to pave the way for retiring the U.S. dollar and replacing it with this disturbing new alternative, and that is the Fed Now digital dollar that is coming online, and they are testing it on September 30th, folks. That day is coming, and it's coming very quickly, and I don't know what's going to happen, so please wake up and be on your guard. He went on to say Executive Order 14067 already gives Biden unprecedented power over the future of the U.S. dollar, and sadly, most Americans will be completely caught off guard by it. So, folks, we see this stuff happening so quickly. I've taken a step back from doing news newscasts because there are so many good news reporters out there right now. One of which I like to watch a lot because he has a big understanding of war and tactics and all this stuff that I do not. I'm not into war, but Canadian Prepper is one of the ones I watch almost every day, and he really does lay out the mobilization of what's going on with every military around. And for the most part, my news channel was always about getting people to see what was coming. And for over a decade, that's what I did. I told people the news so they could say, wow, this is really starting to gather in the background, right? And it's all moving forward and gaining speed. But my biggest part was this, to tell everyone about Yeshua HaMashiach and what I learned from him and what I learned of him. And so that was the biggest proponent of why I did this channel. So here recently, I have had an opportunity to join a Christian business program, and I'm currently studying to learn how to build my Christian business. And so I'm trying to set myself up as an entrepreneur and kind of hedge against what's coming in the world, folks, because once the US dollar drops, so are jobs. And even though I'm a caregiver, and that's mainly the majority of the last few years of what I've been doing with my life and my career, that may go away as well. So this opportunity to create my own business, I'm going to revolve it around homesteading, self-sufficiency, food sovereignty, and how to really live a fulfilled, prosperous, and spiritual lifestyle. It really has become so important to me that I seem to believe that God has laid this upon my heart. And so I'm kind of frantically getting all of that part of my life in order so that I have something to give people and to be able to share with them all the knowledge that I have been given over the last, my life, basically. So that's really the reason why I have not been making videos for the last few weeks. It's probably been almost a month now since I have made my last video, but that is what I have been doing, and I feel led by the Lord to do this, especially at a time when things are getting really ramped up and just crazy. Folks, sit down and think about it for a little bit. And I know all of the news is super depressing, but we have our joy in Yeshua HaMashiach and his coming. Like, we're going to be happy to see him come. I am anyway, because this world needs him. It needs his wisdom and his governance. So sit down and think about your life, your job. Where are you getting money? What are you going to do when that money's taken from you and you're given a digital currency instead? At some point, the world's economic system is going to cut off your right to decide what to do with that currency. And they are going to put a mark inside of your right hand or forehead if you choose to live in this system. So right now, the biggest thing that is before us, I believe, is whom do you serve? Whom do you choose to live with for all eternity, folks? Are you going to take the cheap way out and say, I'll bank on God's goodness and mercy, and maybe he'll show me mercy. I'm going to take the mark of the beast so I can just make it through these last several years? Or are you going to declare your allegiance to Yahweh, Yeshua, and Ruach HaKodesh, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and say, no, I will not comply to this totalitarian social economic system that is going to be the most oppressive system this world has ever seen? But that, of course, is going to come at a cost, and that cost is your life. But Jesus said in Matthew chapter 10, verse 39, whoever finds his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. And that whole scripture backed up to 34 talks about, God is bringing division. He's bringing division against father and daughter, mother and son, and, a whole household. Your enemies are going to be the members of your own household. And that's how this is working out, folks. I went through this experience just a few years ago. So, in verse 37, anyone who loves his father or mother more than me, Yeshua, is not worthy of me. Anyone who loves his son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And anyone who does not take up his cross and follow me is not worthy of me, Jesus says. So please choose Yahweh. His way is the only way to go. Truly it is. When you actually wake up and you listen to what God has to say, Yahweh, Yeshua, and Ruach HaKodesh, you know the truth when you hear it. It rings inside of your very being, and you just understand that that is the way things do work. So anyway, please get ready, folks. Things are happening super quickly, and we're going to run out of time. In fact, we're running out of time right now. Rosh Hashanah, Yom Teruah, is coming. I pray that you have a blessed Rosh Hashanah. And folks, look up. Our redemption draweth swiftly nigh. Love you all. Maranatha, everyone.